But today, I want to be going over multiple things and where the market possibly could be going. And based on the war that everyone's obviously aware of, it's happening in Israel with Israel and the Gaza Strip. A lot of things have been pretty strange because typically you don't see the stock market go up in these kinds of situations, right? Because in the video you guys talked about last week, we were talking about how Ukraine, you've seen the drop, right?
Yeah, we talked about the drop and then it pumped up right after that. And then same thing kind of happened with the Israel gap down just a tad bit, not too much though, not as much as Ukraine, but then it got bought up. And yeah, we all took, I think we all printed that day. The whole gang printed. Everybody made money that day.
So the interesting about thing about that is the Israel with the war that's happening over there is how the market actually is pumped up. And this is why I believe it actually did pump up, just for starters to get a understanding of where we're going with this, is is the area around Israel is nothing but oil. That's all Arab countries filled with oil, right? So that's an energy sector. So what things that happen with energy sectors, whatever happens in the energy sector affects everything else, right? Because energy runs the world. So when we what we seen over there was when they got attacked, everyone expected for oil and all these prices to rise up. So when these prices rise up, what that actually causes is a demand in energy. And when there's a demand in energy, everything else goes up. So that was a large reason as to why the market, well, that was a major reason as to why the market was actually pumping. So going into that, I do think that people don't believe this is going to be a long war as well. So considering that it's not going to be a long war, there's a good chance that there will be an even another pump after it's over, right? So if this war does end sooner than people anticipated, or even as soon as people anticipate, most likely we can expect the market to even pump higher. Okay, because that's just how these things work. So with short markets, if it's not a major war like Ukraine, obviously was a pretty big thing, then people usually expect a pump in the market. So they actually prepare for it by investing and getting in. And there might be a lot of fear going on, but in reality, in the background, what's really happening is you see the energy sector rising, you see defense sectors rising, right? And when these things rise, they bring other things with them. So, like for instance, you're gonna see tech go up, cybersecurity, you're gonna see all these things continue to rise up unless there's a major war. And major wars is when we see the markets actually fall. So like World War, Ukraine was somewhat of a major thing because they supply large amount of crops everywhere globally. So does Russia, large demand in everything. Anyway, I actually let me see. I'm gonna share my screen real quick.
Let's
Where do you
go.
think the market is going?
I have yet to look at the market,
Bruh.
stocks, or technical analysis, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm curious what you think might happen. I'm curious what you'll show us today. But no, yeah, I haven't dived deep into the markets to see what's gonna go on this week yet. I will do that later on though today and do some live charting. But yeah, curious what you think might happen
Oh,
this week.
what I've talked about in the Discord is pretty much where I'm still at, right? Where I'm still at with what I've been saying. So since I've been saying about 443 getting hit or on that bounce of 417, 419 around there, I'm still on the same topic, right? I'm still on the same topic. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I'm just showing this just for obviously receipts, but weekly time frame really important. Green circle to watch out for. Weekly says bearish. If we go back down and fill that order flow before hitting 443, spies hitting new all-time highs. If not, then I'm expecting a bearish month ahead after 443. And this is what I was really referring to. And in fact, I'm actually just going to do a whole new chart just to make this clear. And then we have Jay Powell this week. When is he speaking? Wednesday?
Yeah, I believe Wednesday. Let me pull that up, but
He
I
loves
believe
speaking on
Wednesday.
Wednesdays. Wednesdays is a beautiful day for him. Okay,
Oh
so
wait,
when
no,
we
actually, sorry, Thursday. Sorry, Thursday.
all good. Oh, Thursday. Okay, wow, that's different. Anyway,
Yeah.
so when we had that pump up after we had the market go down, watch this. We made a lot of imbalances and we made a lot of fair value gaps, right? So what those really are is that it's just an imbalance in the order flow that needs to eventually get filled. When it gets filled, no one really knows, but it needs to get filled. And when it gets filled, then you can expect a more balanced out order flow in one or other direction. So here it is, right? Right off the bat, there's a fair value right here. It goes into here. There's another one from there to here. And this is really where I'm focused on, right? I'm focused on this red highlighted area. You can see we came down, but we didn't actually fill it. We just came down and tested it and then bounced all the way back up. So what I'm expecting, along with that, I want to show you something to me that I thought was extremely, extremely interesting. And this is why right off the bat, I was thinking that the weekly looks bearish as hell. So you see we have momentum. Boom. Oops. We have this momentum, right? Then we have this momentum. Then we have this momentum. And then we have this momentum. Do you see a pattern?
Yeah, I do see that. That was a nice uptrend from then. And then now what's gonna happen probably next?
So look, this is the interesting thing. Look how big the momentum is. You see how large this momentum is?
Yeah,
You
that's a
see
big
how
push.
large this momentum is. This, and you see how it's slowly shrinking, shrinking, and shrinking. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you can see where we're losing momentum, even though it looks like we're gaining momentum and we're actually in an uptrend, we're actually losing momentum. If you base it off that first push, right? From where that candle pushed off up, it was large. And now we're beginning to lose that momentum. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And it actually broke. And now we actually broke structure and we're beginning to get momentum in the opposite way. Boom, boom. But I want to see it come down. And this is what I was saying earlier is if we come down first and fill in this order flow, this imbalance, these fair value gaps, whatever a person wants to call it, then I'm expecting SPY to go into all-time highs. I think it's going to break past 443 and then it's going to go. Because I was actually wanting to see 443 get filled, but it never got filled. It went up to 436.50. So that it never actually filled anything. It just went up there to get to retrace, but it never actually filled in that order flow. So that needs to happen. When? I can't really say. But based on this and everything that's going around, I do believe that we are going to come down, get this filled, and then pump up past 443. So I'm a little bit more bullish for JPOW rather than bearish, even though I know there's a lot of fear being stimulated into the media, into the economy. But this is the thing is in this kind of war, we do need a strong economy. We cannot rely on a weak economy for us to actually sustain throughout all of this, right? So it just wouldn't make sense for me for us to continuously keep falling and falling and falling. So I am expecting SPY to come down, fill this area, look very, very, very bearish, and then go back up, right? Because right off the bat, you can see we also have another fair value gap right here. So maybe we can go up, come back down. Who knows? But depending on how this goes. So if, as I said before, if we go to 443 first, before we go and fill in this order flow, then right off the bat, I'm expecting a bearish month ahead. I think we'll be dropping all the way down to like 414s, 410s, areas like that. But if we fill this first, high chance, and I mean high chance, like I'm highly confident that we will be going up and breaking 443 and most likely hitting all-time highs. Because once again, if the energy sector is the one that leads all other sectors in reality, because that's what stimulates the economy, right? If the energy is good, if there's an abundance of it, then everything else rises. Shipping, everything, boom, booms. Everything is cheaper.
That looks like it most likely will happen, to be honest, given all the fundamentals that you're putting in, plus this technical analysis here. I can see that happening, to be honest. It does look good for that.
Yeah, no, I do think obviously I could be wrong, but just based on how things work, right? Because the economy is stimulated on supply and demand. Everything is supply and demand. Everything is supply and demand. Even when you look at the stock market, all it really is supply and demand. There's a supply for the stock. Okay. Now there's a demand for the stock. So people are demanding it, they're buying the stock up, right? And then they're selling the supply off. It's a back and forth thing. Everything works off supply and demand, and all things that go up must come down, right? These are just physics, and physics apply to the market just the same, because you cannot give something for nothing. That's just not real. Like no one can do that. So everything has to be filled. That's why I'm saying that those order imbalances, those fair value gaps that I was showing, have a high probability of getting filled this coming week. And I do think we're going to see that before we actually see 443. I was expecting more of a smoother uptrend, I guess, into 443 after that bounce from 417, 419, but it didn't happen. It is what it is. Now I do want to see that around that 424, 427 area get hit and then fly up past 443. So I think J Powell is going to pump us. Um, just something to be wary about. Obviously, most people probably shouldn't trade that day unless you're trading with the hard stop. But based on what you're seeing, what is it that really caught your attention when you were looking at the market?
I have yet to look at the market fully, but based off of the Head and Shoulders that we just saw on your screen a little bit, I'll also put a picture up of it. I could see that technical analysis wise, we can come down to that zone that you have out, that fair value gap that you pointed us to, around the 420, 417 level. So with the Head and Shoulders pushing us down to bring us down to that 417 level, that's super reasonable. It even helps out. I would love to ride some puts down to that level. So that would be real nice and easy. And then see where we go from there, to be honest, to see if we start doing some type of bounce so that, just like you mentioned about the energy sector and a whole bunch of other markets getting pumped, a lot of Congress people even got, there's a lot of
Defense
reports
stocks.
and articles about, a lot of the Congress from the US are buying these war stocks, these weapon ammunition companies. And so they're also positioning themselves in a way to capitalize off what's going to happen. And they already are anyways. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that we could definitely pump up, go past 443, potentially go test new highs or all-time highs, which is I believe around like 480, something like that.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but yeah, I can definitely see us pumping up, especially just given what you just said about the energy sector pushing us all up. They all do move together. So if they all move together, I can definitely see the S&Ps moving up real nicely too, which I'm gonna be watching for that too. If we get a lot of buyers stepping in, especially on J Powell Day, I'm gonna probably try to get on some calls. But yeah, I've yet to look in to the actual chart it, but let me see if I even have my chart up. I'm not gonna pull up my tab or anything, or I mean share my screen,
It's
but
okay if you do. It's not, I mean,
um, but yeah,
the better.
so yeah, so I'm looking at my chart right now, and it does look like there's small Head and Shoulders and a potential bounce here on even a big weekly trend to keep us up, to keep us afloat, to keep us going. But yeah, so I'm curious what's going to happen. I do like your analysis so far, the fundamental analysis, the breakdown of the technical, showing us the charts. So I do agree with you. I think that's going to happen, most likely going to happen. And there was even an article that I read about Jay Powell most likely will not increase rates given that there's a war going on. Because just like you said, we need a strong economy. We need something we can't put more pressure on these banks and make loaning a lot more difficult if we're trying to simulate the economy and also print out money to give to these these army corporations and pump up the market pretty much. Like they're buying missiles, they're pumping up these stocks for sure. So I do see that the S&P 500s could definitely get influenced by that and start pumping up too as well. So I'm gonna be looking for some calls this week potentially. Got to be careful, obviously,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see what happens. I like your technical analysis of the breakdown, potential bounce on the 417, 420-ish area and go up past 443. So I like that a lot. I think that's potentially going to happen, to be honest. It does look good.
Well, the 417, 419 was actually from a couple weeks ago that I was talking about, and it happened. I don't know if we'll hit that again. If we do, I think I'll be a little bit scared. I want to see more 424, 427 get hit. Potentially we can go down to the 422s, but I wouldn't really want to see 417, 419 get hit exactly, but it could happen. It could happen. My main thing is I want to see that order flow from the past get filled in that I was showing.
Yeah,
So
that
that
is a good
then
area.
then I can expect it to continue up, right? But to be if I'm actually going to if I was actually trading right now, right? Let's just say the market was going, this is what I would be looking at. So this is actually what I would be looking at. There's another gap right here from there to there, right? And you can see the market's coming down. So a lot of people might be entering around this area or when this gets broken right here. Personally, I would prefer to wait until we come back up before I expect to take any puts, right? Because then that'll just show me that we're going to have a lot stronger momentum. So we're getting boom, 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 and stronger momentum. And it's slowly, actually, the momentum's slowly been getting bigger. We have one right there, as I was showing before, and then another one. So you can see that the moves are the down movements are slightly getting bigger, one after the other, slightly. So I want to see it actually come back up, retrace this fair value gap, fill it, and then break down. So this is the area I would prefer to take puts at. I wouldn't really want to take puts anywhere down here just because I do believe we can retrace back up. Once again, I obviously could be wrong, but the futures opens here pretty soon, and so we'll see what happens. I think we're gonna gap up, and then after we see wherever it's at, then I would take puts down into here. So this would be more of a swing play rather than anything else, and then just hold it until we come down to 427. And then if we break past this, at this point we have a good chance of just seeing 443 get hit.
Yeah, if
So
we break those levels, that would be nice. Definitely looking bullish if we break that. But yeah, I like that. That's a good area
and
for puts.
also forgot to mention this. The Bitcoin halving is happening next year or in a couple months, right? So that's going to be very interesting. And usually if you actually go into your Discord and you go into my tab and you search up cycles, I made a whole entire statement about that, right? And it literally everything I said has happened, bro. Like literally, like I was tripping out because I was looking at it today and I was talking about how Bitcoin can see a rise, right? And this was when Bitcoin was like maybe like 20K, maybe less. And I wasn't expecting it to drop below 15K. And it ended up actually going up. Where's like showing up Bitcoin? There we go. Okay. So my only problem with Bitcoin is that we have a lot of imbalances down here to have a good chance of filling up, which if there's going to be a drop in Bitcoin, it's going to be because something very crazy is going to happen. And you could also see we could form a head and shoulders. You see that?
Yeah.
So I mean, there could that could be that. I don't really trade off that, but I do notice that when you guys call it out, it plays out. So there's that big possibility that we can come back up. But you typically before the Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin and cryptos like to go up. So we can see possibly it go up. And then usually Bitcoin follows the stock market. It has because it's not really its own sector yet because
Yeah, it looks pretty
freaking
similar. When I look at the SPY chart and look at this chart, it looks really similar.
yeah, they have similarities, and that's because it's not its own sector yet. I forgot what they're called, but eventually they have to just regulate it, which they will regulate it, and then we can see crypto become its own sector. But as for now, since it's not its own sector, you're going to see it follow the stock market. That's just how it is. It's good. That's how it's gonna be. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Yeah, crypto might be its own thing, but it's going to follow the stock market, and that's not going to change until we see regulation on it. Once again, most likely we'll see it come up and then break down. So I would like to take puts around this area. We'll see what happens though. Obviously there's black swan events. So if this war does continue on, then at this point I do think the stock market will fall because they're going to bring everybody in it. As of right now, Israel was actually supposed to do a ground invasion on the Gaza Strip, but they delayed it due to bad weather, is what they said. But before that, when they were going to first start it, Iran had told them that if you guys attack the Gaza Strip on a ground invasion, we are going to go in pretty much and we are going to fight. Which, if that happens, the US is already there. Multiple countries are already there, right? They're already there preparing to defend Israel. So if that happens, this is an all-out war. This is a major war. If a major war happens, that market is going down, extremely down. Now, all because the New York Stock Exchange and all these other markets and indexes and ETFs go down, that does not mean everything goes down, right? Because even in bearish times, even in bad markets and recessions and depressions, there's always something in the market going up. So you can easily change from what anybody typically trades, from tech stocks and all these things, to other stocks, right, that are going up or stuff like that if you're planning on investing or doing that, because the market always goes up. It always goes up. And even if it goes down, I still think we can go back up because this can't last forever. Obviously the US dollar is falling, obviously inflation is continuing, obviously our economists suck. Like that's clear. That's obviously so clear. I think we both can agree on that whoever's running the country, Bidenomics or whatever it is, they suck at what they do. They don't know what they're doing, or maybe they do know what they're doing and they're just screwing us over on purpose for whatever agenda they have, if they have an agenda. So most likely we'll see a drop if there's a major war, if you see the US and everybody else get pulled into it. Real quick, just a side topic that's really interesting to me is how big of a deal we've made the Israel and Hamas era, which it is important. It's a big deal, but yet we ignore the fact that the Ukraine and Russia war is still going on, right? That's what's interesting to me is how is that still going on? How is that not a big deal now when so many people are dying there too? So it's like, what's the difference? And to me, the difference is profit. So they see there's more profit in Ukraine than there is happening in Israel, where the oil sector is and everything going on. Yeah, things might be going up because of that. But at the end of the day, there's a lot more profit when you can sell things, physical things to the war, right? So, I mean, that's just interesting to me. I don't know what your exact perspective is on Ukraine and Russia, because I do think they have a large effect on what's going on in the world as well.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think they have a big effect on the world, especially the U.S. A lot of people, I get arguments with my own friends about the Ukraine war, and I always tell them that yeah, U.S. is definitely involved in this war, and we're pretty much at war too. But they don't like to agree with me or think that it's true. And we're sending them a lot of money. It's going in crazy. Biden wants to send them another 100 billion, which our inflation is already through the roof. So I mean, it is interesting what's going on. 4 months from now, it will be officially 2 years of the Ukraine war going on, which is
Wow.
pretty interesting and crazy. That I remember when it first happened and didn't think it would last for 2 years. But yeah, you're right. You know, a lot of people were just brushing it off, not even talking about the Ukraine war, even though it's literally about to be 2 years from now and still active. Plus, there's another war going on, and there's even other war topics potentially happen. A lot of people are saying, you know, Taiwan and China, also the Europeans, and forget who else, but there's just a whole bunch of war talk going on, new talk going on. So a lot of fear in the market for sure. A lot of unconfidence, or you know, not too steady investors maybe, but it does look a little shaky. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if there's a lot of profits, if there's a lot to profit from war, then definitely they're going to keep this war running as much as they could. I do think we have corrupt government. Obviously, we can agree on that, and I don't agree with Bidenomics. I don't agree with what's really going on with what they're doing. I do agree with you on it's a big profit. So they're going to try to, in my opinion, they will try to keep war as long as they could, because, it's a big profit game. If you own those companies, or if you own the share stocks of these ammo companies or corporations, then yeah, I mean, you're making bank. And just to talk
Bank.
about getting hedged against this type of stuff. There's economists I listen to, and they say a lot of times like gold and silver and oil does go up in times like these. So it's always best to be in something like that. A lot of sectors, like you mentioned, are going up even in a downturn. Like there's some strong stocks that are just super strong that people need, commodities. People need certain stuff, everyday use, even if there's a crazy war going on. So yeah, I mean, I do try to get invested. I just bought some silver. Me and you bought some silver the other day, and so we hold real physical assets that can't really be affected by the banking system, or even just the whole digital world. Like we have physical stuff that we can sell if we need to go get out of this country. Maybe
Yeah.
another country is willing to take our currency. So we're
Oh,
just
bro,
prepared
every
though.
country is gonna take gold and silver. Every country, like this, that's just how it always. It's always gonna be like that. I don't think anyone will ever deny it, those shiny pieces of metal.
And they also use silver too for the missiles that they're sending over to Israel. Apparently, there's like a kilo of silver within every single missile. So the silver is just it's being, highly demand. It's in high demand right now. So which makes sense why it's kind of a lot of it's out of stock pretty quickly once it goes online. And yeah, so I mean, and the silver prices are still down. So I mean, and gold prices are decently at like 1900. They were just at 2000 the other day. It might even be at like 1850 right now. Last time I checked, it was at like 1880. So those might go up. Who knows? I might even low key play a long call on some gold, GLD, Barrick Gold, and just buy a long call for a year out and just see what potentially could happen, or even silver. So I might just do that, to be honest. Sorry, there's a police going on right here,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I might do that. I might position myself into a long option trade with like worth like $100 and just see what I can capitalize on that, maybe more. Who knows? But that's what I might do. I might just position myself into some gold and silver more, and try to catch the stock market movements, see what's going to happen. I like the breakdown that you already broke us down with. I like that. I can see that happening, to be honest. It
So
feels good.
another question, real quick, that's related to it, but more in a long term perspective is: where do you think the US economy is going to go based on these wars that we continuously support? Like what do you think is going to be the end factor of all of it? Like how long can we sustain that?
That's a hard question, but uh, I don't think we can handle it too long. To me, it's like a game of chairs. These musical chairs are playing. Like they're printing money that's not even backed by anything. So inflation, if we look at the Fed inflation from the Federal Reserve, the Fed inflation rate, we're at 8%, 8.1%. That's not even including the new debt that we just added. We're at 33 trillion. I forget exactly how much we added, but overall though, the more wars that happen, the more in debt we become. So I could see hyperinflation potentially happening one of these days, 10 years from now, just like the Weimar Republic. And potentially we might have.
Explain the Weimar Republic. I'm not aware of it.
Also, when the war happened with the Weimar Republic, they printed too much money. They were also super in debt, needed money from other countries. So their money became worthless, and so they had to go get barrels of literal cash just to go buy some bread because the inflation rate went way too crazy through the roof. So I mean, potentially what can happen, honestly, I mean, we have so much damn debt, it's racking up like insane. The inflation is literally at 1981's inflation right now. So I mean, potentially, in my honest opinion, I do think one day that like it's going to be so hard to live just to be a poor person or somebody that's middle average or even just a regular average Joe. It's going to be hard for them just to live because inflation is going to be so through the roof that it might cost like $10 for a gallon of gas. You might not be able to drive to work because you're too broke to even go get some gas. And then food might be too expensive. It might cost like $30 for a kid's meal, or you might not go to McDonald's. You might go to the grocery store, but still it's insane how much inflation is really eroding our dollars. And a lot of people don't really think about that or even put too much thought into it. And so I do
100%,
think 10 years from now,
100%.
potential hyperinflation to where shit, I mean, if that happens, I'm just trying to position myself to get some gold and silver so that if hyperinflation does happen, then silver prices will go through the roof, gold prices will go through the roof, and I'll be able to protect my wealth. And also, if I need some money, I can trade it for a different currency instead of the US dollar. Because I do think that 10, 15 years from now, yeah, I think the US dollar is going to go to shit, to be honest. I think we're on that road. I think we're on that same path.
And you know what the great thing I hate to say it, but there is good news. You know what the good news about that is, man, is that all because a currency fails does not mean a country disappears off the map, right? The country is still going to be there. Its infrastructure is still going to be there. Its assets are still going to be there technically. So even when it says we're running out of time, even when the currency fails, all that happens is that we just transfer our system into a new system. So all we do is adopt a new currency, right? And most likely, whatever new currency that's going to be adopted, there is a part for gold and silver to be played in it, right? One way or another, there's a way to exchange that currency from silver to gold to whatever that new system is. And when that happens, most likely you're gonna have like the best deals for whatever it is you want to buy, right? So I thought about this deeply. I think at first I was thinking, wow, this is a great opportunity to get the hell out of this country, which that's it still is a great opportunity to get the hell out of this country, right? Because if something goes bad, most likely there'll be an outbreak, a physical, dangerous outbreak. There'll be shortages. There'll be a lot of things going on if that happens. And considering all the guns we have and the mental health issues people have, it's like it's a dangerous place to be. It honestly is. But next to that is once the smoke is cleared, once everything is a little bit more calm, there's a little bit more peace, that new system will be put in place. And when it's put in place, there is room for gold and silver to come in. And when that comes in, most likely you're pretty much going to be anyone with those assets are going to be the first to have the best of the bunch. You know what I mean? Like you're getting from the top and you're not getting from the bottom. So you're not getting the scraps. You're actually getting whatever piece from the bread you want to get, which I think is a great position to be in. I don't actually see it happening anytime soon, to be honest, because the sterling pound took, when it collapsed, which I believe was around World War One, it took from from the early 1900s all the way till 1948, 1947 to actually disappear from being the reserve currency of the world. So it took a long time. Now, I don't think it's going to take that long because things are moving a lot faster than they were before. So it actually most likely will be shorter, but I don't think it's going to happen as soon. Like you said, 10 years, that's more reasonable to see things collapse. Now, when we'll have that new currency system be put in, which we will, don't know what it's going to be. It most likely will be around maybe crypto or something digital, because everything's digital now, man. Everything is digital. And the fact that we're going to be revolved around I think that requires less physical assets, right? So most likely will be digital and it'll be backed up by some physical assets, or the world will go retarded and not back it up by anything. But I do agree with you 100%. I'm not scared, but it is troubling the fact that we've allowed something so beautiful to be destroyed, right? That's just sad. Yeah,
which is
that's what I'm
why,
thinking.
yeah, which is why that's why I think that they're corrupt and they want it. I feel like they do want this. I do think that they want to see the world burn, in my opinion, or the government. Not Joe Biden specifically, because I don't think he really knows what he's even talking about or doing. Maybe whoever's controlling
Nah,
him,
he's not in
one,
control.
yeah, maybe whoever's the one controlling him is the one that wants to see this world burn. Maybe it's because they have deep connections with other countries and they're ready to get out and go be with the United Arab Emirates and make money with them instead. But yeah, you're right. It does take a long time for a country to go away. I mean, even good Germany's still here, but they're, not, it did get wrecked. A lot of people moved out. And so I think in that time, when that time does happen, my plan is just to be well set enough to where I can leave this country with my family for a couple years until everything settles, the smoke goes away, and then I come back buying all the stuff that people can't afford because they were holding debt, they were holding car loans, they were holding shit that does not matter, that's not going to appreciate, and they didn't get the bigger picture to hold real assets and stuff that's really going to move with inflation. And so I want to be put in position. All of us need to be put in a position where we're not going to get wrecked by what's going to come. So that's
Need
pretty
to
much just
be.
where I'm at, and hope that, yeah, I mean, if shit does hit the fan, my goal is to be set enough to where, whether how long it takes, 15, 20 years, the longer the better, because then it gives me more time. So the longer the better. But 15, 20 years from now, 10 years from now, if it does happen, I want to already be set enough to where I'm like, hey, let's go on a plane real quick. We're gonna hop on this jet, pack your bags, 10 minutes, let's go. And we leave, go to United States or United Arab Emirates, the UAE, and then just chill with the family down there until a couple years it goes away. So it's pretty much my goal with what's going on. It is a little bit concerning what is going on, especially when you look at the inflation. That's something I'm really paying attention to, because prices are really going up for real. People always call me and tell me, like Rajiv and even my girlfriend, we always talk about it. The prices of gas, I mean, it's going up. It's going to go up even more. It's going to continue to go up even more. So it's pretty interesting. California is already at $6.50, $6.50. So
Some places are almost $10.
yeah,
Crazy. Some
I told
places
my
are almost
girlfriend as a
$10.
joke, like, for sure gas prices are like, as a joke, I was like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if gas prices really hit $10 around here. I mean, it might get to that point to where it's so hard to be a poor person or average guy just living out here making a regular paycheck trying to live. Like, it's going to be real hard for them just to live. Like, that's why you gotta, or my honest opinion, you got to make some money. You got to get money. It's a hard reality that people don't live with, that you need money, man. Like, money runs the world. If you don't have money, you can't be free. You need money to work, and you need money, man. So if you don't have money, you're going to get wrecked. That's just my honest opinion. And
And the only way to make money is to have a skill. That's the
yeah, to
only
have
way
a
you can really
skill,
make
you need
money.
you need to turn that skill into money. If you don't have no skills, you don't have nothing, you're gonna get wrecked. If you're just the average guy out here thinking that shit's sweet, shit's jolly, good guys, bad guys, you're gonna get wrecked, dude. That's all I know. You're just gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, man. So considering we do have 5 minutes, we'll probably wrap it up here. Just a quick overview of everything we were going over. Like I was saying before, I do think the market can potentially go down if we do fill in that order flow before coming back up to 443. Then I'm expecting all-time highs, and whatever's in the fundamentals, I think will back it up. If we do see us go back up and actually hit 443 before filling in that order flow in the bottom, then most likely I think we're gonna have a very bearish month and we're gonna go back into darker moments. And then going into what we were saying right now, man, I think the only thing I would recommend for anyone to do is really just focus on what you need to do. Don't focus so much on all these fears and everything around you, because if you're not in a position where you can already change your life, or where the fundamentals of all this can have somewhat of an effect for you and benefit you, then there's no point in focusing in anything around you. Everything else is just a distraction if you don't know what you're actually doing, or if you don't have a skill that you're already building, right? So it's like it's almost a waste of time. But I do think that people need to be more aware. It's kind of scary to see how people do not care about what's, and I literally mean do not care, because you continuously spend credit. The interesting thing about that is that people are spending more, but they're buying less. And that should tell everybody something, right? People are spending more, but they're buying less. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense. And then they're also using more credit. There's obviously a pattern there, right? You're buying less, you're spending more, and you're doing it on credit. That's like that. There's a pattern there. So prepare yourselves. Stop using your credit card so much, right? Unless you're doing it to earn some kind of rewards or things like that. Stop spending on stupid shit. Who cares about what other people are doing in life? You know, when bad times come, when rainy days come, you're going to have a storage for winter. There always is a winter. And even Biden announced it. There's going to be a cold winter, which is actually a military term, but we're not going to get into that. So just prepare, you know, and if you have a last message, man, what would that be? If you can give people a message right now for their benefit, what would it be?
Yeah, definitely prepare yourself to make sure you don't get wrecked, and learn a skill. Learn those skills. If you know what's going on and you still don't care, keep living that life. You're gonna get wrecked. But if you know what's going on and you need and you feel like in the back of your mind you need to prepare, then yes, you need to prepare. I think all of us should be pretty working towards something. To be honest, we need to be working towards something every day and actually working towards a real thing that's gonna position ourselves better in the life. Because everything you do right now at this young age is gonna either going to set you up for the future or it's going to tear you down. A lot of people, I see a lot of these 40, 50-year-olds and I'm like, man, I definitely would not want to be you. So you got to make sure you're doing it at a young age, preparing yourself so that you don't end up like those people, to be honest. And that's pretty much my last message. Get some money, man. Find a way to make some money, make multiple streams of money, not just one. Find the best one and keep going. Like, make some money, man. That's my last message. Make some money, man. This world, it needs money. You need money.
100%, man. Make money. I mean, don't obsess with it. Don't make it your god. But at the end of the day, you need to do it, man. Like you need to do it, and then you need to transfer it to something that's gonna hold its value through rainy days, through winter. So I appreciate that, man, and I agree with you 100%. I do think people need to wake up with that and just take that message and apply it in their lives. But once again, if you guys don't know already, join Pros Discord, learn options trading, get the information you can, build a skill as fast as you can, and get out of the matrix.
Thank you, Metanoia. Appreciate you, bro. Get out of the matrix, guys. Join the tab. Watch Metanoia's tab. It's really informational and important. So thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Metanoia.
For sure. Have a good night. I mean, have a good day, bro.